Hello and welcome to Unfrazzle with me, Louise Miller. If you're a solo business owner and you have a big, exciting vision and loads of ideas that you want to get out in the world but without drowning in a sea of overwhelm, then this is the podcast for you. Each week I'll be sharing bite-sized insights to help you stop faffing and stay focused so you can make your brilliant ideas happen and make a bigger impact in the world. It's time to step away from the hustle and find a kinder, more sustainable approach to productivity. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. How easy do you find it to think straight when you're feeling uncertainty, fear, anxiety, or any other strong emotion that you might be experiencing? You know, the events of the last few years have really made me believe with even more conviction that sometimes we all need help and that we simply can't do it on our own, at least not all of the time. So let me just give you an example of something that happened during COVID. One of my In It Together clients signed up to work with me in February 2020, so about 6 weeks or so before we went into lockdown in the UK. And in those blissful pre-virus times, she and I sat down together and created a list of goals and a lovely, clear, doable action plan to move things forward in her business. It was all going really, really well, and then lockdown happened. As for most people, those first few weeks hit my client really hard, so everything she knew and loved about her business was impacted. The rollercoaster of emotions was intense. She was grappling with uncertainty, exhaustion, gratitude, fear, anxiety, and she knew that she needed to recalibrate her plans to take into consideration that new situation that we were all living with. But it was a struggle, and understandably so. Because how could she possibly think clearly with all of that going on internally? Not to mention the barrage of us all being told to pivot and learn a new skill, write a book, feng shui your home. Do you remember all those messages that were flying at us from all directions for those first few months of lockdown, often well-meaning, but actually piling on the pressure? It was a lot, wasn't it? And so my client was reeling and deflated, actually. She'd invested in working with me because she was ready to really lean in and make a bigger impact. But now she thought that her goals were a lost cause, because how could she possibly make them happen when so much of what we'd talked about relied on her being out in the world and meeting people? But actually, the more that we spoke, the more we were able to see that her goals were still relevant and still achievable. We just needed to think differently about how she would get there. So you might be listening to this and wondering why I'm sharing it with you now, 3 years later. Well, the thing is, it's not just big global events that take their toll on us emotionally. Events going on in our own day-to-day lives can have just as big an impact on how we're feeling, whether it's something big, like watching one of your kids wrestle with anxiety, a diagnosis affecting someone you love, or a house sale falling through, or something small but disruptive like a laptop that stops working, or a leaking roof, or building work next door when you plan to record a podcast episode, which is what's been happening to me today. When any of those things happen, it's inevitable that even the best laid plans will get thrown out the window, leaving you reeling and unsure what to do. It's only natural. Because it is difficult to see things clearly when you're in the thick of an emotional response to what's going on around you. And that's when having an objective person at your side, someone who cares about your business as much as you do, can help you to clear a path to progress. So I know that I've needed that support in my own business. Do you need it in yours? Whether it's a business pal, a mastermind group, a coach or a mentor, this doesn't have to be something that you invest in necessarily. Having support around you is so valuable when emotions are running high and it's hard to see the wood for the trees. So who do you have in your corner who can help you to recalibrate when life throws you a curveball? Do you have that support network available to you? And if not, what small step can you take this week to help you cultivate it? As always, I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you for listening to Unfrazzle. Sharing is caring, so if you loved this episode, please share it on your socials or head over to Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts and leave me a review. Not only will I be hugely grateful, your ratings and reviews will help others to find this podcast so that even more people can make their ideas happen. Thanks so much, and see you next time.